Welcome to the season finale of the Midnight Blitz Scoreboard Show for 2017. I'm your host, Walter Johnson, and in this season finale of the Midnight Blitz Scoreboard Show, and a lot of stunning results from the second round of the GHSA state playoffs, and including a real stunner, and down at the Concrete Palace near Valdosta. And before we get to that, congratulations to the Lee County Trojans. The Lee County Trojans make history against Grovetown. Played in the second round game in Class 6A. Played at Trojan Field in Leesburg on the campus of Lee County High School. And Lee County wins easily over Grovetown, 38-6 the final score. So Lee County with the victory goes to 11-1 on the season. And next up for Lee County, second round contest at home against Mays. And Mays outlasted Centennial in a high-scoring game up in Atlanta. Final score 48-41 Mays. So, and as a result, Mays will make the long trip down US Highway 19 from the big city of Atlanta down into Leesburg, Georgia, to take on the Lee County Trojans. And Lee County will look to exact a measure of revenge for last year's playoff loss. And Lee County lost to Mays in the second round of the state playoffs last season. And Mays won that contest for 35-22. So Lee County's season came to an end in the second round. And another quick FYI, in that 2016 Mays team ultimately finished the season at 11-2 overall after losing to Tucker in the quarterfinal round of the 6A playoffs. And Mays gets to the quarterfinals again this year. And this time they'll face Lee County in a rematch of last year's second round contest. So Lee County moves on with a 38-6 rout over Grovetown. So Lee County just literally grounded Grovetown in the second round of the Class 6A playoffs. And Lee County moves on to face Grovetown. And then in the upper left-hand side of the bracket, the other team of Trojans out of Region 1-6A, the Coffee Trojans from Douglas, Georgia, crushed Evans on the road up in Columbia County. In Evans, Georgia, final score, Coffee 55, Evans 21. And Coffee will travel up to Alpharetta, Georgia, just north of Atlanta, to face Alpharetta. And Alpharetta escaped with a 24-21 win over Douglas County in the second round of the state playoffs. And Douglas County outlasted Dalton in a low-scoring 13-6 game in the first round last week. And Douglas County played Alpharetta close again this week, but unfortunately for that squad, they were unable to get over the hump, and Alpharetta wins 24-21, and they'll host Coffee next week. And the third team from GHSA Region 1-6A, the north side of Warner Robins Eagles, saw their season come to an end for the second year in a row, this time in the second round of the state playoffs. And the team that ended north side of Warner Robins season early this year was the same team that eliminated them in the state semifinals last year, and that would be the Tucker Tigers. And Tucker wins it 28-7 over north side of Warner Robins. And so Warner Robins, north side of Warner Robins season comes to an end. and in the lower right-hand corner of the bracket, and it was Glen Academy outlasting Heritage of Conyers 34-26, and the Red Terrors, who ended Valdosta's bid to win back-to-back state championships in Class 6A last week, winning 27-3, had a much tougher time against Heritage of Conyers, but the Red Terrors still win 34-26. And Glen Academy will play host to the Harrison Hoyas out of Kennesaw, Georgia, in Cobb County, and Harrison won easily over Winder Barrow, 45-17. And on the right side of the bracket, it's all number one seeds. You got Mays and Lee County, and Leesburg, and then Harrison and Glen Academy to be played in Brunswick. And wouldn't that be amazing if both Lee County and Glen Academy won over their Metro Atlanta foes, playing the state semifinal round next week. But it's like the saying goes, first things first. And so Mays is 11-1, same overall record as Lee County after their convincing win, I might add, over Grovetown on Friday night. So it should be a tight game. And like I said earlier, Lee County will try to avenge last year's playoff loss in the second round. The only difference is in the semifinals. And we're going to move on to Class 7A, and shocker at the Concrete Palace at Martin Stadium in Valdosta, and Lowndes had Lowndes cruised to an easy 60-6 win over Campbell last week, and they took on a McEachern team. Just came in as the number 2 seed out of Region 3 7A, and then Lowndes had what seemed to be a commanding 31-14 lead over McEachern with about 4.5 minutes to go, and then McEachern scored a touchdown and made the 2-point conversion to make it a 9-point game. Then recovered the onside kick to score another touchdown. So immediately scored another touchdown, made it 31-29. And then after Lowndes was reduced to a 3, and then after Lowndes was held to a 3-and-out, forcing a punt, and McEachern scored what proved to be the game-winning touchdown, and McEachern pulls off the upset over Lowndes, 36-31. So Lowndes' season ends at 11-1, and then and it was a game, and there was a game that Lowndes shouldn't have lost. Unfortunately, they did. I mean, this is a team came in ranked number 1 in the state in Class 7A, and this is a team led by senior quarterback Michael Barrett. And this is a team that was supposed to be playing, that should be playing next week, but unfortunately, they're not. Their season's over at 11-1, and there's no other way to say it, but Lowndes choked. Lowndes is just choked in the closing seconds. And McEachern and then made the big plays when they had to. And anyway, again, McEachern upsets Lowndes 36-31, and McEachern moves on to face Parkview, an easy 48-13 win over Mountain View. And also in North Gwinnett, Alce Grayson from the state playoffs, winning 35-28. And Marietta outlasted Woodstock 38-28. So it'll be Gwinnett County versus Cobb County on both sides of the bracket, upper on the right side of the bracket, Parkview at McEachern, Marietta at North Gwinnett next week. Marietta, the at-large team. And while Lowndes' season comes to a stunning end, and both the number 2 and number 3 seed, both the number 2 and 3 seeds out of 1-7A, Tift County, Colquitt County, respectively, will move on. And both teams won by an exact 7-point margin. And Blue Devils went up into Powder Springs, Georgia, and held off Hillgrove 31-24. Next up for the Blue Devils, and a trip into Gwinnett County into Snellville, Georgia, to take on Brookwood, and Brookwood held on for a 28-23 win over Milton up in North Fulton County. And while the Colquitt County Packers, the number 3 seed, win their second straight game on the road, but unlike their convincing 49-7 rout of Pebblebrook on the road, Colquitt County had a much tougher time against Walton up in Cobb County. And in the end, it was the Packers pulling off the upset over a Walton team that came in undefeated at 11-0. I mean, Walton will end up just like Lowndes. Walton will end up just like Lowndes. Instead of moving on in the playoffs, Walton's going home, and it's the Colquitt County Packers that ended Walton's season with a 28-21 win, and Colquitt County will join Tift County in traveling to Gwinnett County next week to take on Archer, and Archer escaped with a close 16-10 win over Mill Creek, and a lot of close wins there. And moving on to 4A, and sadly the season for the 2 remaining teams from Region 1 4A came to an end, and the American Sumter Panthers have won 8 straight since starting the season at 1-2, and they took on Thompson from East Georgia, and it was the Thompson Bulldogs, who brought the American Sumter Panthers' amazing 2017 season to a sad end, losing 35-34 in overtime to the Bulldogs. An amazing season for American Sumter. Winning the first region championship in school history. And American Sumter was created in 2004 as a result of the merger between Americus High School and Sumter County High School, both in Americus, Georgia. And an amazing season for American Sumter came to an end in round 2 of the state playoffs in Class 4A. Final score, Thompson 35, American Sumter 34. And Thompson will face Blessed Trinity next week. And that game will be played at Thompson. And Blessed Trinity pulled off the upset over Cartersville. Final score 21-17, Blessed Trinity. And Blessed Trinity, Cartersville won like 38 straight games or something like that. But Blessed Trinity put an end to that streak as well as their season. And Blessed Trinity takes on Thompson. And also, the Cairo Syrup Makers season came to an end, losing to Burke County 41-23. And the Syrup Makers had multiple turnovers, which led to some easy points for Burke County. Burke County came in as the second-ranked team in the state within Class 4A. And so that means Cairo's season is over. And both American Sumter and Cairo see their seasons in the second round in Class 4A. And before moving right along, and for those people And for those people that think that Region 1 4A is already tough as it is, and it got even tougher, and having a brief break from the scores and all the playoff scores and the mid-cycle adjustment in the Georgia High School Association, the Georgia High School Association Reclassification Committee, and just released its mid-cycle adjustment numbers and rapid winding down the second year, the 4-year reclassification cycle and mid-cycle adjustment. I mean, not very many changes, but one of the biggest changes comes in Class 4A, and where the Doherty Trojans, whose football season ended last week with a 43-6 rout at Liberty County, were moved up from Class AAA to Class 4A, and the 2015 full-time equivalent enrollment, or FTE, was at 930 students, and it's now at 1,226. And that's thanks largely to the sudden departure of Albany High, a 31% difference of 296 students, and a 31.8% rise in enrollment for Doherty. Again, that's thanks to the sudden closure of Albany High School back in June of this year. So as a result of that, Doherty, Region 1 4A will go from 8 schools to 9. And so it makes it an even tougher region. I mean, you got the top two teams, Region 1 4A that finished 1 and 2 this past season, in America Sumter and Cairo. And Cairo, I mean, between those two schools and 5 Columbus schools, Carver, Columbus High, Hardaway, Northside, and Shaw. And just in the two in what is now 2 Albany schools with the addition of Doherty, along with Westover. I mean, Region 1 4A will be an even tougher region over the next couple of years, 2018 and 19. And they can, I mean, some of these teams, and these schools can still, and as of this moment, the schools may appeal their enrollment numbers, and then and the Georgia High School Association's Reclassification Committee will hear appeals on November 27th. And that reclassification will be one of the things they like to talk about in the proposed new podcast that will soon air on the Southwest Georgia Network, on Twitter at SWGA Network, and as well as on this YouTube channel. And now we can move on to some other state playoff action. And in Class 5A, the Bainbridge Bearcat season ended with a 49-28 loss to Starrs Mill up in Fayette County, Georgia. And Starrs Mill High School's located in Tyrone, Georgia. And that's Fayette County, just southwest of Atlanta. And Starrs Mill now 11-1 on the season, and moving on to the quarterfinals of the third round. And Starrs Mill came in as the Region 3 5A champions. And then it also includes Starrs Mills located in Fayetteville, Georgia, not Tyrone, Georgia. Although the town of Tyrone is in Fayette County. And Starrs Mill moving on in Class 5A with a 49-28 win over Bainbridge. And Bainbridge has that amazing running back, Damian Pierce, and Damian spelled with an E. And Bainbridge's season ends at 8 wins against 4 losses. And Damian Pierce is on the Super 11 in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And Damian Pierce is on the Atlanta Journal-Constitution's Super 11 team. And sadly, though, his season comes to an end. He said not only is the Bainbridge's season come to an end, but also Damian Pierce's career also comes to a close. Once again, the final score: Stars Mill 49, Bainbridge 28. And in class, let's see, in class 4A, and I've already done 4A here in AAA. And the 2 remaining Region 1 teams in that classification saw their seasons come to a stunning end. And seesaw battle up in Cordele, the Crisp County Cougars fell to the Pike County Pirates out of Zebulon, Georgia. In the final seconds, final score: Pike County 26, Crisp County 25, and Crisp County, another region champion from our area, had a remarkable regular season, got to the second round, only to lose in heartbreaking fashion. And Pike County will face the team that eliminated Crisp County from the playoffs last year in Cedar Grove out of Atlanta, the defending state champions, and won easily over Dawson County, 58-13. Really not much of a contest there. And the other team from Region 1 AAA also saw their season end, and it was Jenkins from Savannah edging Cook from Adel, Georgia, 35-34, and a seesaw battle there. And then Cook actually in the game was tied at 21 apiece at halftime, and Cook had its first and only lead during the third quarter, leading 28-21, and then Jenkins scored 14 unanswered points to take the lead for good at 35-28, and Cook scored a late touchdown with 40 seconds to go. And then the Hornets tried to go for 2, but the Hornets and Cook decided to go for 2 instead of kicking the extra point to tie it and play for overtime. And Cook decided to go. And Cook decided to go for the 2-point try, but the conversion failed, and Jenkins held on for the 35-34 win. And Cook's season ends with 6 wins and 6 losses, with the loss to Jenkins. And the game was actually played in Pooler, Georgia, not Savannah proper. And so in any case, the season is over for both the Crisp County Cougars and the Cook Hornets. And Jenkins will host Greater Atlanta Christian, and Greater Atlanta Christian rolled to a 38-21 win over Lovett in a battle of Metro Atlanta area private schools in Class AA. And both the top 2 teams in that league in Region 1 AA moved on. And Thomasville, after a bit of a slow start, defeated the Dublin Irish 44-22 the final score. And Thomasville remains undefeated. And going to 12-0 overall. And let's see, and then that game was a lot closer than the final score indicated, and it was tied at 14 apiece at one point. And then the Bulldogs scored on a go-ahead field goal and take a 17-14 lead and basically cruise from there. Final score, Thomasville 44, Dublin 22. And the Bulldogs will play host to Hurd County next week up in West Central, Northwest Georgia. And Hurd County advanced to the quarterfinal round on Black Friday, which will be next Friday, November 24th, with a 41-28 win over Pepperell just up the road near Rome, Georgia, in the town of Lindale, Georgia. And Pepperell and just blasted Banks County 57-0. But the Dragons were snuffed out by Hurd County 41-28. And Hurd County will travel down to Thomasville next week to take on the Bulldogs. And the other and the second place team in Region 1AA, the Brooks County Trojans out of Quitman, Georgia, traveled to Eastman, Georgia, and took down Dodge County 35-17. And Brooks County will play host to Callaway out of Hogansville, Georgia next week. And Callaway won a thriller on the road, ousting Region 7AA champion Rockmart 40-35. And in the other Class AA action, it was Raven County winning 35-2 over Best Academy. And Best Academy was held to a safety. And Raven Academy, Best Academy in convincing fashion, 35-2 in Scriven County, getting by Toombs County, 34-20. And Hateville Charter and brought down the hammer on Elbert County. And Hateville Charter wins easily, 56-10. Hateville Charter will travel down to Savannah to take on Benedictine. And look at the and amazing what the final score of that game was against Jefferson County, 70-21. Benedictine over Jefferson County. And finally in Class Single A Public, and trying to finish, and it was Irwin County, the number 2 seed, outlasting Lincoln County 28-14. And Irwin County will face Macon County over in Ocilla next week, and Macon County got by Pelham 41-28. And Pelham so the season came, and Pelham pounded Towns County 41-14 last week, but couldn't get past the talented Macon County team this week. So Macon County visits Irwin County next week, and the Region 1 Single A County, the Region 1 Single A champion, Mitchell County Eagles, and struggled against Schley County, but they do pull out the 22-21 victory over the Wildcats from Millville, Georgia, in the second round. And Mitchell County had a bye as the number 4 seed, and the Eagles will have a tough opponent coming to Camilla next week, taking on Clinch County. And last but not least, congratulations to the Valwood Valiants from Valdosta, who outlasted Trinity Christian of Sharpsburg 14-9 to win the GISA Class AAA State Championship. And on that note, that's going to end this season, this final edition, the season finale of the Midnight Blitz Scoreboard Show. And this has been your host, Walter Johnson. And thank you for listening all season. Remember to follow the Southwest Georgia Network on Twitter for interesting news and sports items, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And thank you for listening. It's been fun. And have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, and so long.